Hey guys, this is Luke again, and welcome back to yet another Ninjago video onto the channel today. Wow, there are a lot of characters in Ninjago. I think there's like at least 200 characters in the show, or at least somewhere over 100 different characters. It's just crazy how many characters there are in Ninjago. And most of the characters we like. We actually like them. We actually think about there's a certain element about them that we just like. Some other ones are forgettable, where you don't really know enough about them to like them, but you don't really hate them enough to dislike them. So you're just kind of like, they exist and move on. But then there are those characters who you absolutely despise beyond belief. And these characters are either badly written or just just their personality is very, very unlikable. So today I'm going to be going over my top 3 least favorite Ninjago characters. Aspheera. Aspheera is the main villain of the first season of the new Ninjago era, called the Fire Chapter. The first half of the season called Secrets of the Forbidden Spinjitzu. If you want to call it Season 1 or Season 11, that's really your choice. But what makes her such a character that I just dislike strongly? Well, it's because she's not that well written. Because let's look at it. Her whole motive is that she believes Wu deceived her when it was in fact E deceiving Wu. That's the issue. To me, I understand that some people like her because it's literally the exact opposite of what she believes in. But to me, this is the reason why I don't like her. Because it completely destroys any credibility to her motive. Any good villain's motive has to be true at least some parts of the time. And in this case, nothing of what she said was true. And when you boil it down even further, she feels that Wu deceived her was simply due to the fact that Wu didn't teach her forbidden spinjitzu. And that, according to her, he purposely kept it from her. Which, it's kind of dumb, to say the least. It's really dumb how she thought this was the case. I understand she's senile and crazy. I understand that. However, this is just poor writing at this point. And I didn't even get to the most annoying part about her character. Her constant outcry of revenge and the treacherous deceiver. But if there is one silver lining that comes with Aspheera, is that you really only have to deal with her in the Fire Chapter, as she never makes an appearance beyond the Fire Chapter's finale called A Cold Goodbye, as she's pretty much in Cryptarium's maximum security prison. So that's why I think she's the best out of these 3, because you don't have to spend as much time dealing with the sheer agony and pain that is the poorly written Aspheera. Dareth. Oh boy, oh boy. Dareth. What have the writers done to you? They made him from just a random side character who was very funny to now just an incomparable douchebag who pisses his pants. And this is literally a huge downgrade from all those moments back in Season 2. In Season 2, a lot of people really liked him as he was one of those memeable characters that you could just make several memes about all over again. He was funny, and I really did think that way too. And he was very good for Seasons 2, 3, and 4. It wasn't until he reappeared in Season 6, however, where things start to get a really bad turn. Dareth, and I don't know who the hell approved this. I don't know who the hell in the script writing department approved these, but Dareth made sexist and potentially misogynistic comments towards Nia about how the ninja would work better if it was an all-boys team. Are you serious? This is blatant sexism. And that shit is not tolerated. The only reason I would assume that the writers or whoever scripted that got away with it was because it was 2016. But now with the rise of feminist movements such as Me Too, this stuff is probably never ever going to be allowed ever again. Hell, I'm not even joking. There was even one feminist on Twitter who got so angry about Ninjago Season 6 and how Cole made a joke about how ships were named after women. And I'm not even kidding when I say that. I'm not even kidding. But back to Dareth. This was definitely one of his worst aspects. And then in Season 7, he kind of slowly grew back to normal. And Season 8 seemed to prove that. But then there came the final nail in the coffin. That was Season 9. For some bloody reason, he was a main contributor to the Resistance plotline. I understand that there weren't that many characters to do in that aspect, but literally any of the Elemental Masters would have worked way better than this guy. Especially the arc they gave him. An arc called Brown Power. And this arc is universally despised by a lot of the fandom. And you want to know why? Because of potty humor, which is some of the worst humor in humor history, second only to maybe knock-knock jokes, or dad jokes, or uncle jokes, whatever. The point is, this childish humor did not belong in the Oni and Dragon trilogy, where it was pretty much the most serious thing Ninjago had done up until that point. So, to see that is such a jarring change, especially to a character like Dareth. It's just, why? Why did you do this? And so far, Dareth has only reappeared once, I think, or a few times since Season 9, but he has not been the same ever since. I'm glad they're only using him sparingly now, especially considering that I'm pretty sure his character has now gone down the shithole. Pun unintended. So, also, I forgot to mention that in Day of the Party, he's literally just a douchebag who wants money. So, yeah. So, yeah. They pretty much ruined Dareth. Hell, I even made a video on why they pretty much ruined him. You could find it on my channel if you want. But anyways, let's go to the worst character, in my opinion, in Ninjago. Clutch fucking powers! Oh my god! This guy is such a asshole. He's such an asshole. And a completely disrespect to the fans of the original Clutch powers. This is basically what Teen Titans Go did to the original Teen Titans. They pretty much just disrespected the old Teen Titans. And it's just hella disrespectful. It's the same thing with Ninjago. They just ate this guy, pretty much, as generic stud would say, an alcoholic. And just an overall douchebag in general. And this guy, unlike Aspheera, unlike Dareth, has never been written well. Since his debut in Season 11, he has been written horribly. Every single installment that he appears in is horrible. Season 11, he is pretty much a shell of his former self, which is a little bit understandable since it's been 10 years. But that's not an excuse to make him an overall douchebag to other people. And to be honest, he actually did not want to go. He did not want to go to the pyramid where the ninja needed an adventure. And he really only did it because his membership was about to get revoked. What the hell? You can't get any more flat than that. And this part still pisses me off to this day. And during booby traps and how to survive them, there was a skeleton, and apparently the skeleton is called Hagman, kind of like Hagman, the former writers of Ninjago. And Clutch declared him to be, quote, competition. What the absolute fuck? Are you kidding me? This is hella disrespectful. I would never ever do this if I wrote a show. I would never ever do this. I would never call the former writers of a successful TV show competition just because I'm writing the show now. In fact, I would be way more respectful and do something like what the Hagmans did as they cameoed as themselves. I would just put them as another cameo if, I was allowed. But still, this was just blatant disrespect, in my opinion. But I will say, at least he didn't cause the whole Aspheera being released thing. That goes to you, Jay. Screw you. And then we go to Season 12, where we're going to go to that scene where he's rubbing the pot, and then poof, he just goes away. That whole scene sparked a ton of discussion, because a lot of people thought that Narakan, the villain from Season 6, was going to return simply because of this one scene involving Clutch. Let me be really for you. New Ninjago does not really like to bring back older things, or let me rephrase it. It does not like to reference older storylines. It may reference older characters and older artifacts, but never have I seen them bring up a previous storyline. Except for maybe that one reference Vanya did with the Tournament of Elements. But even then, it wasn't it was just a reference, not like a connection between those two storylines. And so far, Narakan has not returned. So, it appears that this theory was blatantly false. But then again, I will blame myself because I did kind of think that theory was true. And there was even a follow-up theory to that where it said that this Clutch that we saw in the end of Prime Empire was not the real Clutch, and that it was just Narakan shape-shifting, because Jinns can shape-shift. But then we get to the newest installment, and if you haven't seen Season 14, I wonder what you're doing with your life if you have not seen this season. But if you have not seen it, spoiler warning. Okay? So, then we go to season 14, where he is just, again, he brings out the douchebaggery from season 11. He gets tired of chopping through vines, which is relatable if you do it for such a long time, but then he treats his intern Dwayne like a freaking, what's that word? Like a freaking jerk. He treats him like a jerk. And it's almost tyrannical. It's just, ugh. I'm surprised Clutch has not even been fired for that. And Clutch is the reason the ninja get captured. He is the reason that, because he wanted to steal the Stormy Amulet so he can look at it and study it. I understand that's what an explorer or archaeologist does, but they don't steal it. They don't really steal it, alright? Or at least they don't appear to do so. And he even tries to get away with it towards the end of the season. Or installment, I should say, because some people consider season 14 a special. But, I don't know. Call it whatever you want. But, yeah, those are the reasons why Clutch Powers, despite being probably the most popular LEGO character of all time, is the worst Ninjago character to ever exist.